I'm just gonna burn a little Palo Santo. We can't see you, but I hope you're in a safe space. I hope you're in a space where you're comfortable, a space where you can find some calm for yourself. If you're not, that's okay too. That's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today. How to ground ourselves even when we're in spaces that, maybe don't necessarily make us feel safe. But I just want to, if it's okay with you, Paru, can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sounds good. I want to thank everyone for coming in. I know some more folks might just join in at any time, and that's okay too. Like we said, we can't see anybody, but you can message us through the chat. I will be going back and forth between our faces, and then also I'll be sharing my screen so you can see a couple PowerPoint slides that we have prepared for everyone today. But yeah, uh, and just to start also, everyone can see each other on the chat. So if you prefer to remain anonymous, you can just log off, log back on, and then change your name when you log back on. It'll give you an option if that makes you feel more comfortable too. But just to begin, I'll introduce myself and then I'll pass it off. My name is Xica Necia. That is my artist name. You're welcome to call me Bernie. Chat today. We can be friends. That is my, that is my name. The reason why I go by an artist name is because I am a survivor of sexual violence. I'm somebody who, has multiple perpetrators who unfortunately have found me online before. So that's kind of why I choose to use that pen name, especially around this type of work. A little bit of background about me. I am, like I said, I'm a survivor. It's something that has affected a very large majority of my life since I was 6 years old. And so as I've gotten older, I've really been able to start to dive into my healing. And a big part of that for me has been community work. When I was 19, it was the first time I got certified at my local rape crisis center to be a counselor advocate. So I've been doing that type of work for the last 6 years. I also currently work as an advocate at a domestic violence shelter. And I try in my spare time to be able to do other community work as well. In particular, creating spaces for queer people of color, queer, trans, non-binary folks, survivors of violence, because I know that we're a community that really faces alarming rates of violence. I don't have to tell you all, but a lot of times we're not kept in mind around conversations of what healing looks like, or what accountability looks like, and so forth. So that's something that I really focus on, and that's one way that I met Paru. We're also friends in real life. And we've organized together. We've organized spaces, particularly to be able to have queer survivors of color to really celebrate themselves, to have fun, and to connect to art. And I think that's something that we want to continue to do, and we're really happy to be able to do that online virtually with you all today. So thank you for taking the time and taking the space. And I'm gonna go ahead and let Paru introduce themselves.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for everyone who's tuning in. Thank you to my friend Tree for chiming in the chat. Feel free to add to the chat everyone who's present. Very thankful for Bernie for calling me in. As they said, we came here because we both had very aligned visions, very aligned mediums. And so we met at an art battle actually called Art Wars LA. And Bernie was sharing a poem, a spoken word poem about being a survivor of sexual violence. And I remember witnessing that. And this is really how the spark came and how we saw each other's power, I guess, in that moment. I was also spoken word, and I had never seen anyone talk about sexual violence so openly and so, I guess, in a way that was very commanding, in a way that was really standing up for themselves. And it made me uncomfortable at first. And I think that's the big part about healing, is that it comes in stages. And everyone who's tuning in right now might be coming from all types of situations where their agency is being compromised, their agency is being taken away from them at any degree. If you're on that continuum at all, we want to offer you healing through movement and through journal writing. So I just want to say thank you for being present with us and making this moment, making this workshop happen. And thank you so much to everyone at CSUN who has made this quite a seamless process. I feel very prepped and very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also going to take a moment to introduce Josue, if that's okay. Um, and I just want to remind you all, at any point in time, we are going to be talking about, sexual violence, domestic violence, and not necessarily in depth or in details, but if you do feel triggered, because that can happen, it's okay. And we do have an advocate here that you can talk to. So that's Josue, and I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you. My name is Josue. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a part of Strength United. We're the local rape crisis center in Van Nuys, and I'm here to provide emotional support for anyone. I'm going to be typing in our hotline number as well. If you feel more comfortable talking over the phone with one of our advocates, you are more than welcome to call at any time. We're available 24/7, or you can also let one of us know and we can connect you through a separate Zoom chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Yeah. So go ahead and thank you for putting that on there. It's on the chat already if you need the numbers. And if you want to just go ahead and DM Josue, you can do that as well. And you can do a little breakaway. So I'm going to share my screen now so you can see my little PowerPoint. Let me know if it's working. Taking a moment to load. Ta-da! Good, okay. So this is Healing is Possible, Grounding the Mind and Body Through Art and Movement. I know that's a very long title, but we're gonna really break it down for you today. I just want you all to know that when we created this, we wanted to be as intentional as possible to make this a very practical workshop, to make this as simple as possible so that it can be applied. And I feel like that's something that's been a huge part of my philosophy in terms of like practices that I've learned and kind of for my own healing. I think the more simple, the better, because you never know with that grounding. A lot of times, like we're going through, through a huge pandemic right now, and even aside from that, you could be in a space where you could feel triggered or you don't feel safe. And I think, or even when you're by yourself and if you feel anxious, I think it's very helpful to have practical ways to be able to return to the body. I know some folks already checked in on the chat and already told us. If you haven't told us, I'd like to maybe hear from you. Is there anybody new? I can't see the chat and my PowerPoint at the same time. So hopefully, maybe Paru, you can read it.
Let me keep an eye on it.
Anybody new? Oh, I don't know. Now I'm just pulling up stuff. It's okay. We'll just leave it here.
Chat. No one right now, no.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on. Thank you all for saying hi. Thank you for being here. Just a reminder what you will need for this workshop. If you have a pen or a pencil, or if you want to just pull up like a Google Doc or a Word document since you're on your computer already, that works too. We're going to be doing some simple movement, something that you can do even from your seated position if you're in front of your computer. We're also going to be doing some very simple writing prompts as well. So just be prepared for that, have something to write on, and then you just need yourself. Just try your best to be as present as possible. I think something that's really great about being able to do this virtually is that you can participate to whatever capacity you want to. If you don't feel comfortable typing in the chat, if you don't, no one will see your face as it is. If you don't feel comfortable typing, that's okay too. But if you do want to participate, we'd love to hear from you. I also want to take a little moment to just check in about community guidelines. Just something, like I said, they're guidelines just to help us be respectful in the space, be mindful of the space. I wrote a couple down. If you have any other ones you want to add, please feel free to add them to the chat. The first one I have, like I said, participate to whatever capacity you feel comfortable today. If you're someone who's really dominating the chat, make sure to maybe give some folks give some room for other folks to be able to add what they want to say as well. And if you're somebody who's maybe not sure if you want to share, like I really truly believe we all have such valuable information to share. All of our healing journeys are different. All of our experiences are different. So we would love to hear from you too, in case you need that encouragement. The next one that I have is only share personal experiences. Don't share stories that aren't yours to tell. So even though we may relate or we may know somebody who has, a story that's similar, please just be mindful of what you do share. This might not be the space for it. They might not want other folks to know about their experience. So just another way to be mindful. And then lastly, what is shared here stays here. Just a heads up, this video is being recorded. It is being broadcasted on Facebook and it'll be on YouTube eventually. So, if we do end up talking about anything, it'll be on there, but the chat itself won't be, like the transcript won't be shared. So that's really the only way you're communicating with us. So unless we openly say what you had typed, you shouldn't have to worry about that. So we'll keep that to ourselves, especially if you want to private DM us at any point, whether we're on Zoom or in the future, like on Instagram or something. That's definitely something we're going to keep confidential. So I just want to remind you of that. And then I already checked in a little bit. If you feel triggered during this call, it's okay to feel triggered. Please take care of yourself first. Take a break if you need to. I won't be offended if we lose people on this call. You can join in at any time, and like in the future on YouTube, so you can always watch it in the future as well. I also said that you can message Josue at any point in time, and you can check in with Josue. If you're not in a space where you feel comfortable, even just talking, or maybe even in the future after this call, if you want to check in with someone, I have a couple of the hotline.org is for domestic violence, hotline.rain.org. It's you can talk to an advocate just by typing, which you can also do with Josue today too. But I just like to add that in case you're in a space where you don't necessarily feel safe to just call somebody. So I'll share that at the end as well in case anybody wants that. So the first discussion question, I want to pass that off to Paru.
The first question is, what is mindfulness? And you can tell us your definition for it in the chat, and we can kind of share what we think mindfulness is, how we would define it personally. And we're going to go into different ways that me and Bernie discussed, and how we defined it for ourselves and how we kind of bridge together our meanings. What is mindfulness to us? I feel out of all the ones listed, the one that really sticks out to me is going to be returning to the body. If you have one that really works for you and you feel like you really resonate with it, feel free to comment in the chat about which one you feel resonates the most with you. So in this list, returning to the body is the way I practice mindfulness, and everyone has their own way. People might have their favorite hobbies, maybe their work, different passions they're picking up. I feel like movement is bridging together dimensions of the self, the physical, the mental, the spiritual. And I feel like that's something that is very much so often punctured when we go through our traumas, relive our traumas, and experience different ways that people can cause harm to us. It makes us feel a little different about how we want to exist in the room or in a space. And so spending that time to really subtly pay attention to all the senses that we have within our body, all the connections, and just the blessing of being able to move a body at whatever capacity we may be at. That's what mindfulness is to me. But other sorts of mindfulness that we also wanted to define, different aspects of it, would be being aware of the external and the internal. So often we go about the day so focused on the external, so focused on accumulating in the external, being presented in the external, and just having that opportunity to provide for us a time of dedicated internal meditation, I think is a type of movement that's not focused on enough. There's a lot of choreo movement, there's a lot of exhibition, cipher style movement, but how much movement is dedicated to the inner sensation and checking in with how you feel at any given point in the day. Not a positive or negative experience, simply being, being aware of and holding space for memories and emotions, welcoming all aspects of self to be used as a tool of healing. I actually was inspired to prompt the not a positive or negative bullet point, the not a positive or negative experience, because I had seen a performance of Buto, and it's this Japanese dance where someone is encouraged to almost contort their body in ways that feel painful, that feel like they're embodying death. And that was the first time last year that I'd ever seen that type of dance form. And so it really made me meditate on what it means to purge ourselves, what it means to heal ourselves through movement, and the different opportunities we can take by not always assuming a comfortable or physically pleasing posture. So when we'll be doing the movement today, the guided movement, there will be some gestures that are kind of intense, extreme, but they can be very purging of energy and very clearing. And then lastly, welcoming all aspects of self to be used as a tool of healing. Most of the exercises that I'm going to be sharing today that Bernie has called me in for will be based on breaking or breakdancing and qigong elements. And I feel like this bridges together a lot of aspects of how we want to express ourselves. I think people have a need to release. And most of the time, if you're a survivor of domestic violence, a survivor of sexual trauma, that's definitely affected your confidence in doing so or feeling safe to do so. So as we kind of channel and enter that free and free and safe space for movement, don't be afraid to do whatever your body is called to do, whatever you're being called to do with your body.
Thank you. And just to piggyback off of that, I really believe that mindfulness can sound very simple, but I think especially, you know, as people who have survived trauma, as folks who have survived violence, I think maybe a lot of us can relate to dissociation being one of those, the ways that our body responds. I know that's something that I can really relate to, and I feel like I've told Paru this before. I really believe that survivors of violence are in a lot of ways time travelers, because a lot of times, you know, we're not in the present, but we're being thrown back to past experiences. We're being thrown to, you know, future anxieties, and we're always kind of like flip-flopping to different moments in time. And so I think mindfulness is something that is, you know, really helpful for grounding, to really return to the body, especially when the body is the place of trauma. And I really just want to kind of highlight again what Padu said about not necessarily having it be a positive or a negative experience. When I Googled mindfulness, like when I was first trying to like maybe put together something for this, I realized that a lot of kind of the curriculum that's out there is kind of based around making it seem like a positive experience, which is okay too, right? I think it's kind of like put in that light of being like, you know, meditative and nice, and that might not be the case for you, you know, because especially when you're trying to ground yourself, that might be in a moment where you're trying to calm yourself from a panic attack or from an anxiety attack. It might be when you're in the space with someone that doesn't make you feel safe. And so it's really being able to kind of just come to a place where you can observe your feelings, your sensations, and what you're doing in that moment. And so, yeah, we'll be talking a little bit more about that. And like Padu said, we'll be sharing some exercises that are simple that help us kind of return to the body. So the next discussion question is, how do you practice mindfulness? So for folks who maybe heard about mindfulness, who do practice it in some way, like please tell us in the chat, how do you practice it? Why do you practice it that way? I would love to hear or read. I'm gonna exit real quick just so I can read the chat. I do body scan. Okay, mindfulness is exploring awareness. Deep breathing. I've heard of body scan before. And you can maybe add a little bit more if you want to, but from my understanding, it's a meditation where you kind of like scan through your entire body and check how you're feeling with each part of your body and your being. Deep breathing. Thank you, Josue. I really appreciate that. Deep breathing is a great one. Okay, great. Yeah. Practice mindfulness in my breathing, noticing where I'm holding tension. I think it's really helpful to check in with the senses too, one by one, is what I personally like to do. Ooh, I practice mindfulness in choice of words. If you would like to, I'd love to hear you elaborate. Maybe I imagine in the way you speak about yourself or what you're going through. Yeah. As more folks add to that, to this PowerPoint, and then we'll tell you a little bit about what Paru and I do. Zoom share.
Let's do it. Hi, Atele. Thank you for tuning in.
So these are just some we do. I'll let you go ahead, Paru.
Here we go. Checking in with the senses. I think when we do time travel, thank you for making that analogy too. That's something very unique to you. You made that parallel, that it does feel like when we leave our body and we like want to protect ourselves in situations where we feel triggered, where we feel like we're re-experiencing something, that we lose our sense in we lose our sensory awareness in the situation. So checking in with the senses might just be taking the time to take in what colors you're seeing, or numbers, or things you can smell, maybe things around you that you've eaten, the taste of it, just keeping it very simple, but finding how to ground yourself in the details that are around you. And then next would be stretching. We'll do a lot of extensions during the movement portion of this, the guided movement portion. And stretching is a really great way to stimulate and have circulation, flow of energy throughout your body. That always helps me sometimes when I don't know how to work something out in my mind or in conversation. I'll stretch a bit, and that energy circulation kind of translates into my mental state too. Writing, not everyone's medium is writing. I do acknowledge that some people might not want to put pen to paper or type out their thoughts, but it is a medium that provides more description, more space to name what we're experiencing, and to also document. If you are a survivor of sexual trauma or sexual violence, sometimes it's best to take note of what you're experiencing so someone doesn't manipulate it into something else, or tell you that it didn't happen. To just have that with you can make you feel more secure in the moment and in time, realizing that you do have a truth and a story to always share and to document, to journal. Next would be cooking. Cooking's a favorite. Me and Bernie cook together. Cooking dates are great. Cooking is a very meditative experience. It makes us think about not only the end product or the end state of where we want to be, but being present for the whole process and seeing the transmutation of ingredients into something that can nourish ourselves. And that's something that's present in cooking and a lot of other mediums. But there's something very, I think, spiritual and healing and nourishing to the soul to be able to cook with someone or take the time to prepare something for yourself. It can be a very healing practice. Lastly would be dancing. We're going to be doing some dance type movements today. Dancing is something everyone has a different definition for. If you would like to chime in about what you think dance is to you, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. It seems to be some people think there's a dance to nature and that things move in particular patterns. And then there's a dance to just people interacting with each other, energy flowing in that way. And then there are dances that we know, breaking, house, salsa. There's a lot of different types of dances, right? Partner dances, line dancing, so many, so many. Buto. So today we're going to be doing more of a free movement style that's based on things I've learned training in breaking or breakdancing, and also Qigong, which is a traditional Chinese medicine sequence of movements that aims to invigorate the body in a way that's relaxing and emotionally regulating.
Thank you. Yeah, and just I totally agree with all of these. We put these down together. These are things that we share in common. I want to say about cooking and to be in my body, especially cooking, like it really invigorates the senses, the taste buds, the smells. And so that's something that I feel like is a very powerful way of bringing me back. Some of you all saw me burning Palo Santo in the beginning of this call, and I think even that helps me kind of return to the body. So I like to do things that kind of, yeah, do push my limits, like dancing or stretching, because then I feel like if I'm not feeling anything, at least I can feel the deepness of the stretch or something like that. But one that we're going to be focusing on right now is actually deep breathing, which some of you all mentioned in the chat. So we're going to try a breathing exercise together. Oh, Paru, your mic's not on.
Thank you. Thank you. So if everyone can just assume a comfortable position wherever they're at, where they have adequate space to sit in upright position. We're going to be doing a breathing technique that I learned from a pretty big global internet celebrity. His name's Wim Hof, and he has a breathing technique that's based off of a Buddhist traditional breathing technique called Tummo breathing, and it means inner fire. And it's a lot about regulating breath and mental state, emotional state through the suspension of breath and holding it. So we're going to be doing 2 rounds of this. And first we'll be taking a collective breath. If everyone can tune in to how their breathing is at this moment and acknowledging its rhythm, not changing it, not adjusting it, just allowing your breath to come in and out how it usually is. And we're going to take 1 inhale together. Inhale slowly. And exhale all the way out. Again, inhale. And exhale. Inhale. We're going to be doing this again and again. Leaving no pause between the inhale and exhale. Gradually getting a little faster. Keeping a consistent breath. I'm going to be guiding my breath with my hands in case you'd want a guided rhythm. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms down. Inhale, feeling the subtle energy travel to your fingertips. Exhale. 10 more breaths. Seven. 6. Getting a little faster. 4. Last one. Inhale. Exhale full. Hold your breath. We're going to be holding our breath like this, raising our awareness to what is in our space, what is around us, our body, feeling our adrenaline build to bring energy to the fingertips, to the toes, letting our body temperature rise. And then inhale, exhale. Allow your breathing to regulate. We're going to speed up slightly. Inhaling, inhale. Ten more. 10. Inhale, exhale. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, go. After that exhale, we're going to be holding our breath. Again, feeling a raised awareness to our senses, the sense of touch in our fingertips and our toes. It's okay if your body is warming up. Going a little bit longer. If you need to let go of your breath and inhale, that is totally okay. Do so when you feel called and when you feel ready. Inhale and hold. Hold this just for a couple seconds. Exhale. Slowly. Great. Good job, everyone. That was great breathing. That was some great breathing. Thank you so much for joining that. Now we're going to be moving on to a journaling portion, but hopefully your bodies feel a little more invigorated from doing a suspension breath technique.
So I want everyone to kind of take their time still to return back. If your eyes are still closed, that's okay. Open them when you're ready. I want you to slowly start to bring awareness to the space that you're in, whether it's a room or you're outside. Kind of try to take note of whatever calls your attention first, whether it's a sound that you hear, or maybe you can smell something. Maybe it's something you see. And for the next minute, I'm going to ask you all to just, on your pencil, on your pad of paper, in your Google Doc, we're going to spend 1 minute and just try to write everything you can about the present moment that you're observing. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about syntax. Just try to keep writing the entire time. And I'll be doing it as well. Okay. Finish up. If you have anything else you wanted to put down, you can reread it if you'd like to. No need to share it if you would, but just try to hold in everything that you just observe everything, try to be as present as possible. We're going to be moving on to the movement.
Thank you, Bernie. That felt really good to do that. I haven't properly journaled in a little bit. So here we go. I'm just going to open up. Apologies. The movement closed suddenly. But if everyone can find a space where they're comfortable to move, all of the guided movement today will be accessible to people in a chair too, if you're seated or if you're in a wheelchair. And if you get dehydrated quickly, we won't be doing the movement section for too long, but just to have a glass of water accessible to you, easily reachable. And we're going to start greeting our body. So as I said earlier, I started off in a breaking and breakdancing environment, and a lot of that is, I feel a lot of initiative is called in those type of movement spaces. I want us to take a moment and just pause for our body and find ways to think and greet our body before we start moving. I always feel like it makes my movement a lot more honest when I do so. So here we go. Just bringing your palm to different areas of your body and sending energy to it, thanking it for getting up in the morning, in the day, whatever time that you awaken, and saying thank you for all the times that it has brought us closer to the things that we need to go to, protected us in situations, its capabilities, its being, its breathing. And just acknowledging that, taking a moment, realizing we are in a body. This consciousness is in a body, and it's the body our ancestors have given us. It's the body that has carried us all the way to this moment. And it's the body that will continue to carry us with these memories, personality traits, everything that makes us us. This is our body. This is my body. Thank you for greeting the body with me. Now we're going to move on to tracing the entire body. This is another way to start building a relationship back up with our body and how we relate to it, our relationship with ourselves. And it's simply just running our fingers across different points of the body. I actually like to use different meridian points for this. So I usually go all the way from my chin down to my collarbone, feeling the sensations, sending loving energy to my body, and even doing it on my collarbone, allowing my fingers to trace the entirety of my arm all the way to fingertip. Even finding ways to massage my body near the ribs. If you have lower back pain, this is a good time to start tracing behind you and keeping that fluid motion at any given time, maintaining contact with your body, letting your body know you are here for it. And now we're going to move on to something that a lot of acupressure and qigong specialists and masters apply, and that is tapping the body in different areas. It's also something that I've learned a little bit of recently from my friend Kyoko, different areas we can engage. And we're going to be doing a tapping motion now. So like what I said about starting from the chin when we were grabbing, well, not grabbing, but when we were sliding our fingers down, we're going to be tapping our chin. This is for Kyoko. And now we're going to be tapping underneath our collarbone. Hearing that sensation, feeling it. Now we're going to bring it to the rib cages just underneath. Stimulating this area of our bodies. Great. And now lastly, we're going to be massaging different areas of our shoulders, of our neck, and whatever we feel needs a little massage. We're just going to be dedicating this time to tuning into what is sore or what needs a little bit of release from the tension. Some people might have pain in their neck right here. You can even stretch out your neck as you massage it. Always doing both sides. Shoulders. And also another place where there's a lot of tension usually for people is the lower back. So just massaging that. And it's really nice to create a sequence for yourself that dedicates time to give attention to different areas that you find built up pain. Just taking time to greet that body part, to massage, to trace that body part, and to really release everything that's stored. Great. Now coming back to our relaxed position, we're going to be releasing the tension of our face, posture, and mind, softening our gaze forward, finding our thoughts drip away, feeling the new sensations in our body. We might feel more warmth on different parts. Relaxing your expression, allowing thoughts to drip away, aligning your posture, your head, your shoulders, your pelvis. Now we're going to start swinging the body, accessing the natural torsion and the subtle torsion of our spine as we do this. We're going to be swinging the sides back and forth. And if you would like more of a challenge, you can also practice really bringing your shoulders to a more dramatic angle. but still accessing the subtle torsion of the spine. Now coming back to our relaxed position again, we're going to be sending energy from one end of our body to the other. And how we start this is we're going to lean with our torso to one side. I'm leaning to my right side. And I'm extending my arm until the end of the screen, feeling my energy travel to one side, and then allowing that hand to go up and forming a number one. You'll be feeling some intense energy at the end of your fingertip, and we're going to transfer that to the other side, making a full quarter moon, coming back to a half moon. And as we do this, we're going to be taking this hand and releasing it to the other side as this arm comes back into a fist and this hand forms a number one, just like this. Allowing the energy to travel all the way to the other arm, feeling the tingle travel all the way to your fingertip, extending your body, and then repeating. We're going to circle back with this hand, quarter moon, half moon, relaxing it, making a fist, rotating the fist, retrieving it, raising this finger to make a number one, and pushing it out again, allowing the energy to travel all the way to the other side, all the way to your fingertip, while drawing this hand back, as if a bow and arrow. We're going to do one more repetition of this. This finger does the number one, this hand rotates and pulls back like a bow and arrow. All the energy peaking at the fingertip, and then coming back to a quarter moon toward your torso and returning to our breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Allowing our shoulders, our palms to drop. We're going to be raising our shoulders and dropping them continuously. Just a couple times, shaking out the energy that we just traveled through our arms. Putting our shoulders forward and rolling them back now. We're going to do this 6 times. 6, 5, 4. Getting a deep circle, big circle. 4, 3, 2. Last one. 1. And now we're going to do it forward. 6, 5. Really extending your shoulders. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now allowing our palms to come back up, facing up. We're going to rotate them and stretch toward the sky. Feeling that sensation of fully extending your body, fully sending your energy out there toward the ceiling and then back down, relaxing and repeating with your palms up, rotating and stretching toward the sky. If you would like, you can also practice doing this to your diagonal sides. You can do it to the bottom diagonal sides. Or you can stay here, up all the way, or all the way to the sides, finding all these new and different compass directions that we can use to send our energy out and return it to center and send it out again. It's really limitless. It's a great way to practice movement, is to think about yourself as a compass, always having different possibilities to move in. There's just so many. Great. And now returning back to a relaxed position, we're going to be moving our palms forward, moving our hands forward, and doing wrist flashes. This is just to invigorate our wrists. Just doing a couple of these, sending energy to our arms. Great. Looks great. And now relax our hands back into relaxed position. And our last warm-up exercise and isolation exercise will be the chest. We're going to be bringing our chest forwards, like so. Like from the side, it will look like this. Bring our chest forward and to the side, as far right as or left as you can go. And then caving in and doing it very deep inside. And it will look like this from the side. Bring your back forward. This is really great for your spine and warming up the whole chest. Forwards again, to the side, inside, back, and then to the side again, and then creating that fluidity, right? Just connecting everything we just did into a full circle. Great, it's looking great. And really extending your body. Every cycle that you go through, extend your body even more. Finding what feels good for you, finding what feels the most extreme for a stretch, accessing that sensation, and then switching sides. And this is basic isolation, but using it in repetition can really bring warmth to the body. Great. Now let's just do a variation of in and out. Forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, regulating our breath with that. And this is something you can incorporate into a rising routine or a bedtime routine, and pick what you like and add on to it. Just simple things that allow your body to assume different postures and find different possibilities. There's so much potential with the body, with the mind, when it's activated aware. Nice. Now coming back to a relaxed position, finding our center as if swaying bamboo in the wind. That concludes our movement portion. Now we're going to move our guided movement portion. Now we're going to move on to a small section where we're going to encourage everyone to put on music that they like. We've also made a playlist if you would like, and we'll have a free movement session where you get to experiment with how your body feels like it wants to move. And we'll be doing this for only 2 to 3 minutes just for people to exercise their body in this way. I'll be providing a link to the playlist. But of course, you can turn the sound off on here and you can play your own playlist that you like to play when you feel like moving. And this playlist has a mixture of genres, and you can pick maybe one that you would like to play for this portion. All right, here it is. And it's called Reset. I'm going to be muting my audio for this portion. I'm just going to time until 3:58. Perfect. If everyone can find a closing or an ending to your present movement, we're going to be returning to the next portion of the workshop. Thank you for joining me in the guided and free movement. I hope you feel a little more invigorated, a little more energized for the next portion.
Thank you, Paru. So slowly take your time, come back to the space when you feel ready. If your eyes are closed, that's okay. I want you to take your time and check in with each of your senses. So first, try to notice what you can hear around you. Try to identify one noise in particular that stands out to you. Try to identify a smell next. Anything you can smell near you or maybe in the distance. Slowly bring your awareness to touch. What can you touch? What do you feel around you? Is it your clothes? Is it the seat that you're on? Try to notice the texture of it. If you have something to taste, maybe you have some tea with you or water or a snack, take a taste of it. Bring your awareness to the flavors, to the aromas. And then slowly bring your awareness to what you see in front of you, whether it's your computer, you want to look at your hands, that helps too, or to whatever you see directly in front of you. And then lastly, I just want you to check in and then see what feelings you feel. You don't have to put a name to it, but if you can try to identify maybe where in the body you're feeling something, whether it's your stomach, are you holding feelings in your heart? Are you noticing your mind? Maybe your back? And just try to identify where it is that you feel. Next, I'm going to ask you to bring out that piece of paper again or your Google Doc. And we're going to spend 1 more minute with this writing prompt. Just try to write down 1 to 3 words that describe how you are present. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be written in any language if you don't want to. You can doodle something. You can write it in a language other than English. You can use symbols, whatever feels comfortable to you. Just go ahead and try to write down at least 1 to 3 things. And I'll give you 1 minute starting now. Wrap up if you have anything else you wanted to put down, any final doodles. Return when you're ready. So now I want to ask you all, now that you've taken some time to slow your day down a little bit, we've written a little bit, we've moved our body, we've taken some deep breathing. I want to ask you, how are you doing presently? How are you feeling? Is there anything that you've noticed? Did you feel any shifts since from the beginning of this call to where you are now? And we'd love to hear any thoughts that you have, anything that you want to share. If you have any questions, then it would be a good time to put it in the chat. I can speak for myself a little bit too. I do feel like whenever I kind of take the time to do something like this, even though it seems very, very simple, a lot of these writing prompts were very simple, minimal. A lot of this movement was something that get up or move to a free space to do. You could do it in one spot. I think when we keep it simple, it kind of helps me return to my body. Even I personally feel very grounded right now. I feel very calm. Um, and for me, I do feel that I'm in my body right now and I feel present, which is something that I have a lot of trouble doing usually. And even though I felt like I was present at the beginning of the call, I think slowing down and taking the time kind of really reminds me of how much I don't realize that when I'm not present in my body, really just like slowing down the tension in my body. I was able to really feel like where I've been holding some things. And so I think that's where these exercises help me. I don't know if you want to share a little bit, Padu. If you still, it's okay if nobody wants to add to the chat too, whatever feels comfortable.
Thank you. I definitely mirror those feelings. I feel like on top of feeling calm and grounded, I feel also understood. I feel like the way that you facilitated the journaling portions, I feel like I'm allowed to take my time and I'm allowed to express as much as I want. And that makes me feel more grounded. And I feel like I want to share. I feel like I want to share this type of feeling with other people and just do it with other people too, with my friends. And I feel a little more motivated. I think warming up the body in any way makes me feel like I can take on more tasks or I can take on the next task. So thank you.
Thank you. And we have someone in the chat saying, I'm so pleasantly surprised because I feel that I released tension I didn't know I had. And I agree with that too, Josua. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I really did feel that. I don't know about you all too. I even feel like I can just feel like the hairs and the pores on my skin. Even I really feel it like just awareness and in the temperature of the room. We have someone saying, I feel more in my body. Its needs, not really its wants. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And I think that that's a really important distinction. And I appreciate that you shared that.
Definitely. I feel like not focusing on our wants and feeling our needs more means that we've kind of come to like arrived at the center of what we really need rather than just finding like desires or desires to satiate. It's like, oh, I actually really need water right now. Oh, I actually really need sleep right now. It comes back to like the essentials. Thank you for saying that, Adelaide.
And I think that is such a powerful practice to have because I think it's very easy to get caught up in not only what you want, but also what other people want sometimes. I think that can also be a coping mechanism is starting to like try to cater to other people and putting other people first. And that's something that I know that I've faced. I'm not sure if anybody can relate, but I think I really appreciate you bringing that up because I feel like it's important to be able to practice like not only what your wants and needs are, but really figuring out what's yours and what somebody else's.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
I hear that. Well, thank you. I'm going to just share really quick just to wrap it up. We still have some questions for the end. I know some people submitted questions, so don't worry, we'll get to that. I just kind of want to just give you a reminder to keep it simple. Whatever it is that you learned today, hopefully you took away something. And even if it's not exactly what we did right now, I think it's very valuable. Everybody knows their body best, and I think if there's even just one thing that you can the next time that you may be feeling anxious, that you're scared, that you're mad, I encourage you to try it because it's really something that kind of sounded self-explanatory to me at first, but the more and more that I really challenge myself to try to like actually put in practice, checking in with my senses, slowing down, I think I'm realizing that it. So I hope to maybe hear in the future too, like how that works for you. I'm gonna share real quick just some of our contact info too, in case anybody wants to write down to discuss in the future, to message to us in the future. I have a couple of resources I wanted to share with you too. The first thing is I'm Still Here. It's a zine that Paru and I helped curate about 2 years ago. It's It's a zine with artwork and stories and testimonies of all queer, trans, non-binary people of color. And I think it was a really beautiful thing. 25 artists from all over the country came together, and it's available for free on my website. And I think this is a good resource just because I think it's very easy to feel like you're alone at times. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. There are people every day that are surviving, that have survived violence. And I think being able to have something in front of you that represents that, I think can be very powerful. It's also a great way to connect with other survivors too. All of the survivors that submitted their stuff, if they're not anonymous, they included a bio and a link to either like their email or their IG. So you're welcome to, like, maybe find other folks in your area, and see if you want to connect on that level too. So you're welcome to write that link down, and I can share it later as well. We still have Josue on the line at 2. If you feel like maybe you're noticing a shift in your body where you did feel triggered, or it brought up an emotion that you're not sure how to deal with right now, please, like, a private DM either us or Josue, and you can still have that chance right now to talk to Josue while they're here. And then if you maybe want to sit with it for a little bit while longer and you want to maybe reach out in the future, we do have the referral hotline up. And that specifically for CSUN's campus. If you're a CSUN student, you can call one of your campus care advocates at any time. But there are also hotlines for sexual violence, for domestic violence, and I can share that in the chat as well, in case maybe you don't go to CSUN and you want to reach out to someone in the future as well. And then lastly, I put down our contact info so you can get in contact with us. That's my Instagram. I have my email there too, if email is more your style. And then Paru also has her IG down and her YouTube channel. I don't think that the hyperlink is going to work, so I don't know if you want to just say your YouTube username, I guess.
If you type in YouTube /Paru Planet, that's my YouTube, and I'm uploading more like dance sketches and just body experimentation type of things. So if you want to check out how to move your body in different ways, please subscribe to my channel.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to hear more about this in particular, like, please let us know in the chat. That would be great too. We're happy to hop on like IG Live or just work on it in some other capacity so that we can continue to create spaces like this. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know we had a couple folks that wanted to ask a question. If you want to add any other questions about anything, whether it's something we talked about today, if you need more clarification, ask us something individually, now would be a wonderful time. You can type it in the chat, or you can put it, I think there's a Q&A button in case you want to type it in there. But I do see one question that was already submitted. 3 p.m., which I think is a wonderful, lovely time.
Wow, yeah.
Right? And I'm going to read it out loud. I don't know if anyone can see it. I'm not sure if attendees can see it. So I'm going to read it. It says, well, first off, it says, loving this workshop so far and your flows. Thank you. How would one suggest how to embody mindfulness at a moment of intense sensation / emotion, such as when one is enraged or one is speaking self-harm in their inner conversations? Wow. Thank you for that question. I feel like that question is super important, right? And I think those are definitely times where you want to try to kind of check in with yourself if you're able to. I guess I can go ahead and maybe answer a little bit if you want to piggyback, or if you want to add something to Paru, feel free. I think at a moment where someone is feeling an intense sensation or emotion, I think if you find the space to, even if you are in the room with other people, I've experienced having something like that happen to me. Being in the room with someone that made me extremely uncomfortable to the point where I became enraged. And I feel like kind of one of the only things that didn't necessarily bring me back to my body entirely, because I think, sometimes emotions can just really be overwhelming, but I did practice checking in with my senses. I feel like that's the one that I practice the most. I feel like it's a very simple one. And for me, it's just, I just start to feel very disassociated, like I said. And so I kind of like how I did at the end right now, slowing down and kind of just checking in what you can see, maybe grabbing your clothes or whatever you can touch near you, and just trying to bring awareness back to like being in your body. I feel like it's something that has helped me at least feel grounded. Um, I think if you all have suggestions too, please in the chat. Um, like we've mentioned in the beginning, mindfulness is something that may not be a positive or a negative experience. It might feel really bad in the moment if you're feeling a lot of, very overwhelming feelings. But I think maybe just trying to take a step back and observe what it is you're feeling. If you are by yourself, if you do feel comfortable, even just writing down exactly like we did, like just one word, two words, whatever it is that comes to mind first. And kind of just sitting with that and trying to feel where that is in your body. Is it your gut? Because that can tell you different things too. And I really believe in like our body being able to tell us what we need, kind of like how someone mentioned, like being able to connect your needs and not just your wants. Sometimes for me, for example, um, if I feel like my gut is really being affected, if I feel like knots in my stomach, sometimes that can mean that I need to trust my intuition, right? My gut feeling. And sometimes I think we really can take certain parts of what our body is telling us that literally. Um, if we're noticing maybe sensitivity to light or and ultimately that's going to be up to the individual and what their body is feeling. I saw someone put in the chat screaming out loud in a safe place. I think that can be a good way to bring you back to your body. Absolutely. If you feel comfortable doing that, whether it's inside or outside, I think just doing something physically can bring you back to your body. Did you want to add something, Paru?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I would definitely want to go somewhere and scream out loud. I think usually I'd put it into dance, but I haven't thought about that one yet. So thank you for contributing that, Tree. And for me, it's been like physical activity, having things that have repetitions. But when it is in the moment, like in this question, when if it's somebody who's enraged at you or you feel consumed with rage, I feel like for me, on my journey, it's been best for me to take distance and communicate why I need to take the distance. Not to take like spiteful distance or distance that feels like I'm withdrawing love, but more so just taking that time for myself and being okay with me to take that time for myself. Away from that person, or just for me to check in back with myself. And when it's about speaking self-harm in my inner conversations, I think that's when I do meditations where it's more like I look at myself as an aspect of nature, and I would ask myself, is that how I would talk or refer to myself if I'm talking to something that I know is potential, like has potential and is destined for growth? Is that the energy I want to put near me or like have come from me toward me? And if it's not, then it's better to shed it, and it's better to find ways to communicate with yourself that is more encouraging and more forgiving and more about like centering that compassion for yourself, because we are people that are just learning, and sometimes like we don't know things in advance. Sometimes we can't predict things. Sometimes there's way more factors and it can be very overwhelming. But what's important is to not lose sight that it's a process, and it might not even be a mistake, like I think people blame themselves a lot when they're coming from trauma and they try and work out, and I know I do. I try and like piece together ways that I caused it, and I feel like when I'm harming myself in that way, it's better to just take a step back and look at it from a point of view that's not so judgmental for myself. Easier said than done, but it's the best way I found possible for my healing.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And I just want to remind folks too that like I totally resonate with that, Paru. I feel like we might not have all the answers. Even trying to be mindfulness, it might not trying to this might not come out perfect, and there's no reason to judge yourself for that either. We're really just trying to encourage ways to observe emotions and not necessarily and letting them pass through you, because you're gonna feel them. It's not necessarily a technique where we're trying to tell you to move through feelings faster or to push them away. Because like we said, not everything is gonna. I think it's helpful to even just like be able to observe and identify what it is you're feeling, and maybe that'll help you with the next step of like how to address it. Do we have any other questions? I think if anybody else wants to add a question, you're welcome to, about anything. Or if not questions, any comments, concerns, resources you want to share? Okay. Cats are awesome. They are. Oh yeah. Oh, she left already. I don't know. She was up here at some point. That's my kitty. Her name's Raichu. I like Pokemon. She's actually crying in the corner right now because I'm supposed to feed her in a little bit, but she'll be okay. But yes, I feel like animals are very healing too. Animals save lives. Spending time with a pet, I feel like is a great way to practice mindfulness for me personally. I don't know why I didn't think about that before, but I think they really help you just like be present. You have to love them and pet them or just spend that present moment with them. But thank you all. Thank you for taking the time today. Um, if you have any questions in the future, we'll find a way to connect again through IG or through email. But yeah, I just want to thank you all genuinely from the bottom of my heart for being here today and for taking the time. Yeah, I'm sending you off with so much love and compassion, and I hope that we can connect in the future.
Thank you.
I just want to thank y'all both for being here and putting this workshop out for us. It was wonderful. I thank you so much for this. I think unless anybody else has any other things that they want to say, then I think we can go ahead and close it up.